Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. It's now time for us to look at what the papers are reporting. Senate okays, talk about the Nation newspaper, which is the first. Senate okays 54.46 trillion naira for 2026 despite 2025 revenue shortfall. Lawmakers fix parameter, approve 2026-2028 MTEF FSP. Next is the Blueprint newspaper. Senate reduces 54.4 trillion naira 2026 budget oil benchmark to 60 barrels per day, at $60 barrel per day, and then retains domestic foreign borrowings at 17.88 trillion naira, pegs debt servicing at 15.52 trillion naira. Leadership newspaper. Dangote seeks arrest, trial of downstream authority CEO in petition to Anti-Graft Commission. Independent Corrupt Practices Commission says petition will be duly investigated. Downstream authority CEO Ahmed keeps mum. Next is this Nigerian newspaper. Oil war. Dangote drags Farouk to ICPC over alleged sleaze. Demands arrest of the MD of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Claims are exaggerated, misleading, and driven by vested interest. NMDPRA boss responds. Nigerian Tribune. Dangote petitions ICPC. NMDPRA boss fires back. Dangote confirms readiness to provide evidence. How I funded my children's education in Switzerland. Farouk Ahmed responds, insists on thorough probe. Next is the Platform Times. $1.3 billion oil block war, while OPL 245 was revoked. Adoke, former AGF, faults Obasanjo's handling of deal, says Nigeria's interest was sidelined. Nigeria News Direct. ICPC launches probe into NMDPRA CEO following Dangote petition. As Ahmed insists children are beneficiaries of scholarships, alleges blackmail. The Guardian newspaper. Anxiety, mistrust, cloud Nigeria's tax reform promises benefits. And then we'll also go to the Punch newspaper. Insecurity, police deploy special forces ahead of NLC protests today. NLC defies pressure, mobilizes state chapters. Police lock down flashpoints. CPs meet labor leaders. And the Hope newspaper. No project will suffer delay under me. Aiyedatiwa says any historic mandate imposes duty to deliver. Credits Tinubu's reforms for infrastructure boost. And Nature News newspaper. Environment Council meets to shape Nigeria's climate challenges. Greener future. And then the Sport Alive. Osimhen, Lukman, Basi Ajibade lead nominations for the 12th edition of the Nigeria Pitch Awards. That's about it. Egypt 2, Nigeria 1. Eagles lose to Pharaohs in pre-AFCON friendly. Our Zim scores consolation goal. Ria, I love in Spanish. All right, now.
Yeah, you predicted this match.
This wasn't the match.
Okay.
This wasn't the match?
Let's go. This wasn't the match.
All right, then. Etoma, Ria, and indeed Olamide. Looking at what's it called? The budget, the meeting with the Senate, where we have the Minister of Finance meeting with the Senate, saying that Senate okays 54.46 trillion naira for 2026, despite 2025 revenue shortfall. Whereas, others are saying that that's actually not the case, that Senate is currently scrutinizing, the proposed 54.4 trillion naira 2026 budget, but has not okayed it. So quite conflicting, reportage there.
At the end of the day, the Senate has to come out with a very clear statement on that issue. We've okayed it or we have not okayed it. You do remember that the federal government applied to the Senate to borrow 17.89 trillion to finance the 2026 budget and so on. So if the budget is as large as that, you can now understand why some Nigerians are not very comfortable. They are saying this budget doesn't reflect the realities on ground. So it is something that most Nigerians like me would want to hear clearly from the Senate, that we have okayed it or we've not okayed it. That will give us a picture of what will happen in 2026 as far as the budget is concerned.
Yeah, and Ria, looking at the paper, Blueprint newspaper, Senate reduces 54.4 trillion naira 2026 budget oil benchmark to $60 per barrel, and then retains domestic foreign borrowings at 17.88 trillion naira. Yesterday, we were excited about the inflation falling, but then we also talked about projects that were not finished and then need to be carried over to the next budgeting cycle. Also, there is this 30 trillion naira shortfall for the 2025 fiscal year. But in all of this, we're playing with figures, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to speak about it, because we know that for the year 2025, like you said, we have 30 trillion naira less. Yeah. And for me, when projects are stalling, it's a big one for us. It's not just about, the government. Now, it has to do with the citizens, because if roads are supposed to be done and they are not done, who suffers it? Everybody at the end of the day. But, we go on the road, most of the time. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that they give us clear, information. They communicate to us what they're trying to do. Is this, have they okayed the budget? Have they not okayed the budget? Because having these two contradicting things doesn't really sit well with me. And now I had a problem with the fact that we are now taking projects into 2026. I was hoping that we finish the projects we do in 2025 so that we enter 2026 as a new year. Because oftentimes, Ibrahim, you see a lot of abandoned projects that have been started in 2023 that they've not finished. It's just so sad that we've now gotten used to the fact that, we didn't finish this project, let's stall it to the next year. I think that we should get to a point where there's accountability. We know that if we're starting this project this year, let's make sure that we're finishing it. Because rolling over projects has never been, I don't know.
Absolutely. The oil sector is on fire. If you look at the leadership newspaper, Dangote seeks arrest, trial of downstream authority CEO in petition to Anti-Graft Commission. And then you also have the same thing on this Nigeria's page. Oil war, Dangote drags Farouk to ICPC over alleged sleaze. And then you also have the NMDPR boss responding, saying that the claims are exaggerated, misleading, and driven by vested interests. When someone says, yes, there is a claim, but that claim is exaggerated, is that telling us that something is actually there, but you're overblowing it, hyperbolic way?
Absolutely. As we often see in Nigeria, and that is exactly what is happening right now, oftentimes fights about policy or regulation or agendas often now become personal attacks. So this shift from policy fights to now personal prosecution is very interesting to me, and it's a shame that the oil sector, like everywhere else in Nigeria, is being politicized. But I will say this, his statement that he put out yesterday on X, Mr. Farouk Ahmed, it changed my mind, right? And we've spoken about the fact that you can change your mind when presented with new information. As that yesterday when I was on Trending Now, I was like, no way. How can he spend 5 million naira on school fees when people are suffering? But on reading his statement, he basically came out and said, I've been in public service for about 30 years. My findings and my earnings are congruent with what the wealth I've accumulated can be accounted for. He said, approximately 48 million, my annual compensation as the NMDPRA CEO, approximately 48 million naira, including all my allowances, is publicly available in our audited reports. Essentially, he said, do your findings.
And for me, I want to speak on this, actually. Do your findings. We actually need to do the findings because, Olamide, when people speak, it may look good, but at the end of the day, you never know what is really happening. And the kind of person Dangote is, I'll also be very surprised if Dangote had not done his findings or doesn't have evidence for him to organize a whole press conference. Because if this is not true, he has practically embarrassed himself. So I'm hoping that, and I know that he would have great evidence before he can, sit and do that kind of thing. For me, what I'm speaking about is that at the end of the day, Dangote is saying that, and this is not me speaking for Dangote on the show, but he's saying that I can give this fuel, I can refine this fuel. And now these people are saying that bring imported fuel. We all know what it is, when fuel is imported. Dangote has been a person always talking about let the citizens get cheap fuel.
That's right.
If this is true, it's going to be a very big problem because it's going to expose a lot of, sleaze that's going to be happening in the petroleum industry. Yeah. I cannot wait to see what happens. I feel like this investigation should really go through, even though Mr. Farouk has made the statement that, it's not true. Of course, it's not going to come out and say it's true, but I think that they need to really investigate.
Sorry, hold on. Let me come to it, Toma. If you look at it, it's fine. I said it yesterday. It's okay that we have billionaires fighting, especially in this sector, because we need the price to go down. And Dangote has already said we'll meet in the market. But if it's due to the fact that, they are holding your hands, holding you back from, refining locally and then getting Nigerians to have access to oil, as you've claimed, why is it now when you guys are fighting that you're making us bringing this to our knowledge? Shouldn't we know about this long time ago if you know that there is corruption somewhere?
Because as far as Dangote was concerned, the Farouk Ahmed had been, first of all, came out and said that the quality of petrol from Dangote refinery has too much sulfur, which to a great extent affected sales of Dangote petrol, and Dangote now.
And the guy actually made practical, did a practical on that, and was able to say that even Dangote fuel lasted longer than the imported fuel.
And that's where the quarrel started. And from there, so many other things that are underreported has happened between both of them. And it is now come to a point where we're saying, come, why are you doing this to me? Are you clean? If you want to go to equity, you have to go with clean hands. You are not clean. And this is one of the examples to show that you are not clean. That's what is happening right now. But the downside of it is the international community is looking. Mr. President has traveled all around asking for investors to come into Nigeria.
That's right.
What kind of picture are we painting? Are we telling the international community that the only Nigerian that has spent up to $20 billion investment in Nigeria can be treated like this?
Ibrahim,
that can happen, what about us that are not from here?
Ibrahim, in the spirit of balanced reportage, because we have to take both sides. This is just a short excerpt from Farouk Ahmed's statement that he posted. Dangote's claim was that you are spending 5 million naira in Swiss boarding schools for your children. He said, my late father, another Nigerian businessman, established education trust funds for his grandchildren. That's one point. So he's saying it's not my money. Number two, he said 3 of his 4 children received substantial merit-based scholarships ranging from 40 to 65% of their tuition costs. So most of their tuition costs, according to him, was not coming from him. So that's just important to know.
Exactly. But even with all this that he's said, they still need to investigate these claims. I really agree on that. They need to investigate it. We keep saying that let's do more Nigeria, let's prioritize Nigeria. So why can't we refine our own fuel? When we are fighting with Dangote, at the end of the day, it's a refinery that is working. How many other refineries are really doing well?
All right, still talking about oil, Toma, let me quickly, just a very brief comment, on the platform Time, saying that $1.3 billion oil block war, why OPL 245 was revoked. You remember Mohamed Adoke at the time, all of the corruption cases that he faced and all of that, and he said that former President Olusegun Obasanjo revoked the oil processing license 245 in July 2001, after the oil block's owners refused to surrender a 60% stake to interest linked to powerful figures within the government. Obasanjo said that he did no wrong, and then he challenged Adoke that if he was able to provide the proof that he signed off on this project, then he would apologize. And and Mohamed Adoke was able to provide the proof that he signed off the following day and asked Obasanjo, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, to apologize to the people. He never did. And the point I'm trying to make out of this is that it was one of the biggest oil profile scandal that we ever had in the history of Nigeria's oil business. We just talked about the NMDPRA and Dangote's brouhaha. So this was a former president who, in his own estimation, never does any wrong, which is very bad.
Sorry, if you were in Obasanjo's position, would you say you ever did wrong?
I'm human. It's human, so forgiving is divine.
There are days that you will make mistake and accept
exactly.
Yes, there are days you will make mistake, but we are talking about Obasanjo here. I mean, let's just go on. You see, the things that surrounded that deal were a little bit hazy to a lot of people. If you remember, Malibu Limited,
Malabu Oil,
oil was given the contract.
That's right.
Only to find out that the Minister of Petroleum at that time, Dangote, owned 30% of that organization, and that goes completely against the law.
That's right.
And several other things that Nigerians ended up noticing or finding out later.
That's right.
And what it just goes to show is the level of sleaze in the petroleum sector, and it's not something that just started yesterday.
It's so huge. Let's raise
That's
up.
why they keep writing books after they've left. You see, they will now write a book. It's true.
No. When people write books, it doesn't mean that they are trying to whitewash whatever had happened.
I know, but what is happening now? They will not say
the record straight.
Ibrahim, they will not say the corruption now. Then after they've left, they will not write a book about the corruption.
Because
That's my problem.
some people are not able to talk.
Please
when they
talk.
Were
It's time to talk because
you are doing the talking for them. You can be the spokesperson.
I agree.
All right, then let's move on to the Guardian newspaper. Anxiety, mistrust, cloud Nigeria's tax reform promises benefits. We're saying that January the 1st, 2026 will be the takeoff, of the tax regime. So there is this personal income tax. The poor is exempted. Banking and tax ID will also be introduced, which was introduced in 2019. Informal sector, attractive tax regime to encourage formalization. All in all, the tax regime is meant for the Nigeria's economy to, to be shored up and then get more internal revenue. So if I'm sending money to you, I have to tag it as I'm sending a gift to you so that money will not be taxed. Well, if I send money to you and then maybe I tag it wrongly or some way or the other, the tax has to be taken.
You should tag the right thing at the end of the day. But for me, I don't know why Nigerians are scared. I feel like the reason why they're scared is oftentimes, when we hear all these tax reforms, we don't really see it happening, or it's just long talk. Remember, we had an interview with a guest who said he's not even sure that it will happen from the 1st of next year. But I love the tax because, like you said, the people that are not really making so much will not be taxed. Oftentimes, we see people that are not even earning up to 500,000 and their tax is a whole lot. So the fact that it takes the burden off the people that are less income earners means a whole lot. I'm just hoping that it's now implemented, because it's not about saying we've said it that it's going to happen January 1st. Let's hope to actually even see it happen. All
right, Olabide, let's quickly race to the Punch newspaper. Insecurity, police deploy special forces ahead of NLC protest today. NLC protesting against insecurity, kidnapping, and all of the problems happening within the country. And they're saying that it's okay, we can deploy your police, but please do not disrupt or obstruct freedom of expression, freedom of association, or freedom of movement, or whatever it is. Otherwise, there will be a total shutdown on the economy.
There was a time in this country where the NLC would stage a protest, and nobody would be frightened that it could become aggressive because we trusted in their ideals, right? We trusted in their ability to want the right thing and the utmost good for Nigeria's and labor populace. But it's getting to a point right now that nobody can take NLC seriously.
That's right.
And that's a shame.
And that's
the police is mobilizing almost as though they are thugs. It's a shame.
It's a shame.
We'll see what happens. We just pray that they handle it, very perfectly. And Sports Live, unfortunately, Rhea, Egypt 2, Nigeria 1.
I never predicted this match.
Eagles lose.
I never did.
The audience will do a playback. Thank you. All right, but it's okay. It's all fun. Actually, it's all fun. And then at least Nigeria was able to score one. We didn't go and didn't come back with...
But you guys have heard that Nigeria might be going to the World Cup, right? Maybe.
Did you really say at least?
I know I don't comment a lot on football, but history shows that friendlies before AFCON, Nigeria doesn't do well. But the tournament itself will do better than we do.
As we did for the qualifying match, World Cup qualifying match.
All I need to say to our Super Eagles, they need to do better. Honestly speaking, they need to do better.
It's okay. All right, that's about it for the newspapers we've chosen for review today. Coming up on TVC Breakfast, the downstream petroleum sector heats up as NMDPRA CEO Farouk rejects misconduct claims and questions the motive behind the accusations. We'll be right back. Just stay with us.